How to use an overripe tomato. Overripe tomatoes tend to be juicy and delicious. The problem is that tomatoes become wrinkled and unpleasantly soft when they're overripe, meaning they're not ideal for salads and eating raw. Fortunately, there are many ways you can use overripe tomatoes. Some of the most popular include using them in cooking, for sauces and condiments, and to make a variety of delicious dishes and treats. Stewing tomatoes. Score the tomatoes. Turn each tomato over and use a sharp knife to cut a shallow X into the bottom of each fruit. This will help the skin to peel off easier after you boil and cool the tomatoes. Boil the tomatoes for 60 seconds. Fill a large pot with water and bring it to a boil over medium-high heat. When the water is boiling, drop the tomatoes into the water with a slotted spoon. Bring the water back to a boil and cook the tomatoes for a minute. Cooking the tomatoes like this will help to loosen the skins, making them easier to peel. Cooking the tomatoes like this will help to loosen the skins, making them easier to peel. Plunge the tomatoes into an ice bath. Fill a large bowl halfway with ice, and fill the bowl the rest of the way with cold water. Remove the tomatoes from the boiling water with the slotted spoon and transfer them to the ice bath. Leave the tomatoes in the cold water for 60 seconds. Dunking the tomatoes in the ice water will immediately stop the cooking process and help the tomatoes to retain more color once they're cooked. Dunking the tomatoes in the ice water will immediately stop the cooking process and help the tomatoes to retain more color once they're cooked. Peel off the skins. Use the slotted spoon to remove the tomatoes from the ice water and transfer them to a cutting board. Turn the tomatoes over to the scored side and use your fingers to peel away the skin. Use a sharp knife to cut away any stubborn pieces of skin that don't want to come off easily. Seed and dice the tomatoes. Cut the tomatoes in half through the middle, not from stem to bottom. Use your finger to gently scoop out the seeds. Dice the seeded tomatoes into 1-inch 2.5 cm cubes and transfer them to a large, heavy-bottomed saucepan. Cook all the ingredients together for 30 minutes. Add the salt, sugar, parsley, and chopped green pepper to the pot with the tomatoes. Put on the lid and heat the mixture over medium heat. Bring the mixture to a simmer and cook it for half an hour, stirring regularly. Other vegetables you can add to the stewed tomatoes include chopped celery, onion, and garlic. You can add any dried herbs you like to the tomatoes, such as basil, rosemary, parsley, and oregano. Other vegetables you can add to the stewed tomatoes include chopped celery, onion, and garlic. You can add any dried herbs you like to the tomatoes, such as basil, rosemary, parsley, and oregano.